so I can show that off. So this is from Talon Strikes Games. For those who missed it earlier, while at PAX U, we actually, We're Draft Games actually essentially partnered with Talon Strikes, and we opened up our booth and had a double booth where Talon Strikes half of the booth and We're Drafts half kind of merged together. And we had a single checkout, and so we could kind of see their games, they could see our games, and we could kind of help each other sell games. And so this is one of Talon Strikes Games that, even though they were feet away from me most of the con, I was so busy focused on We're Draft Games that I didn't actually get to learn about it till the last day. But it sounded delightful in the way they integrated the theming of it. So they were nice enough to send a copy back with me to do some review content on. So I'll do some unboxing of it, learn how to play later, try to do some more video of it as well. But this is Camp Pinetop, which is a ages 8 and plus 60-minute game for 1 to 5 players. So that's both great for solo and potentially families that have more than just 4 people. So, or those game nights where that extra person shows up. So let's cut into this and we'll see what it's all about. They also sent the little tower and a little mini expansion with it, which we'll go over in a little bit. So I'll set those pieces aside. We'll go over those later because that's expansion edition stuff. But Camp Pinetop, it says, "Rise and shine, campers. The bugle is sounding. Roll up your sleeping bags, break down your tents, and get ready for another beautiful day. Are you going to scramble up Gemini Peak, delve deep into Fiddler's Woods, explore the depths of the fairy fire caves? Or will you take a canoe out to Lantern Island? Grab your gear and let's get going. You're the leader of a group of campers who are exploring the wilderness. To win, level up your campers to the highest rank by collecting achievement patches, which will give you special abilities. The first player to advance from the starting rank of Possum to the ending rank of Badger is the winner of the game." So just the point that they integrated like the camping theme and badges and ranks like that kind of is that throwback to when a lot of people were doing scouts and stuff like that. And I grew up camping with my family, so just the thought of a lot of the things that this could involve and the theming of it just really stuck out to me as unique. And the nice thing is it's not a huge box. So it's not going to take up too much space on your shelf. It's not your huge standard square box that a lot of games have a lot of dead space in. Okay, I appreciate this. Right on top, we have extra baggies. Because I'm one of those people, I like to have bags to organize stuff. So seeing that in the game is very kind of just ups it up a notch for me. Plenty of bags to organize later. That'll be nice to see. It looks like this was put in the box later and off the assembly line of some sort, because it's interesting that the rules is not on top. Not a huge deal. I'm used to seeing rules at the top, but as far as shipping and stuff like that, putting it down below under flat pieces actually protects it as well. So it's not a terrible thing to do. So we got a Ziploc of, it looks like wooden bits and bobs and meeples potentially, some cards, different shapes and sizes. We have some essentially punchboard type pieces, some cardstock mats. Okay, so now we've got to the rulebook and manual. This, I always like to look at the manuals before I open all the other components, so pardon me for having to pull it all out first. Welcome to Camp Pinetop. So this rulebook, okay, so it looks like it has the solo journal right here with overview, game components, and how you change it from the basic rules. So let's look at the main rulebook then. So we have a camp manual. It kind of has an overview, gives us game components, talks about what we should find in the box, and even kind of mentions itself here, which isn't bad. And then we get a player area with game setup, map area, and how to set up your map on the table. Supply cards, campers. It starts to go through actions. In general, it looks like there's some different paragraphs of text, but they're broken up with different icons and picture view, so it shouldn't be too hard to read through and actually learn the game. Gaining patches, kind of what they mean, explaining additional cards and the details on those, how to win the game, and then it talks about a Kickstarter special token, which I don't know if is in this copy or not, because since I did not order off of Kickstarter, I'm not sure I expect to see it in this. Little expansion, which says it's the nature expansion, which is I actually did receive. So it's nice to see that those expansion rules are already in this rule book. And then the observation tower expansion, which I also received. The rules are right here in this book. Some extra tips, credits, and such. Kind of even giving credits to play testers, which is nice. They do that. And then the solo rules, like we had started to open a while ago. It kind of goes over the components you need, basic changes to the rules, actions, and then it's almost like so it's giving you scenarios and kind of walking through multiple scenarios as a solo mode. So it's not just a one game setup. You got scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and let's see, 8. So 8 different solo scenarios. So it's something you can really work through and play as a story, as opposed to just a one mode, which is nice to see. You don't get enough solo modes getting essentially stories to play through. So I do like to see that. That's something I'll probably play through at some point. Okay, and then these looks like player mats. So it looks like on one side we have like a troop number and our troop symbols for the color. So as you can see, we got red, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Each one having a different troop number as well. Probably not really affecting which one you play. It's more thematics of knowing that like different scouts have different troop numbers as they gather into groups. It looks like so because it kind of talked about you're starting as possum and then you're starting to level up as you play with earning badges and such, all the way up to badger. It's kind of laid out here, showing you different number of cards and different badges you need or such to achieve those levels. It looks like the back of these. Okay, okay, interesting. So it looks like the back of all of this was actually the solo mode. So if you kind of line this up, you got that 1, 2, then 3, 4. Yeah, so all the backs of these player boards are actually the solo mode boards, which is kind of cool to see how they've done that as well. Okay, so then next up, I'm going to look at these punch boards, which these are those essentially badges. It does appear to be that each of these boards So they had enough badges for each player to be able to earn. The edge of it is color coded, but the rest of it does appear to be the same text. And then yes, it does have the Kickstarter token in here as well, as seen in the rulebook. So let's do some punching and see how well this goes. So this is the first one. Let's see how well this does. Okay, not bad. A little tight, pops pretty good. There's a slight edge on this, not terrible. Pops more. Okay, so once it gets past that tab, it's popping and snapping out pretty easily. It's not trying to tear. None of them are tearing yet. They'll snap pretty easily. It takes a little bit extra pressure, but this is a slightly thicker board. Now let's see how these break. The cool thing to see is they're saving resources, being conscious of material, and that they're doing a joint line cut between a lot of these badges. This is something you don't see enough in games, of maximizing your cut joints and joining them together. This is saves you material. Yes, it might be cheaper in that you have to make less boards, but it's also in general better to not have to have as many boards in a box in general, because it's better for the environment. You don't have to print as many because it really adds up over time. So as you'll see, as I start to punch these, this cut is the same as the bottom of one piece and the top of the other one. So you take one out, and the next one's right there, and there, and there. So sometimes they'll come out almost together, but then they come apart easier. So it is nice to see saving material in that way, and a lot of times they're gonna break out a lot easier. So they did have slightly big tabs at the end. As you look at these parts now, those joints, they're gonna be slightly more visible. That is one thing that happens when you do a joint line like that. You have to have slightly more tabs so they hold together longer. But ultimately, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's something that bothers you, you can easily file those off a little bit. Wouldn't be hard to do. So in the same way, these share those cut lines. So you just kind of put pressure in the middle of that whole set, and all of those start to come out very easily. So then ultimately the waste is so much less. Because imagine if it didn't share those lines, there'd be all this waste and still left on this, kind of like this piece right here. There'd be between all those. So that is good material use. Definitely kudos to Talon Strikes for that design of the chipboard cut. So I'm going to try to leave these badges in stacks because they're color based. But again, you can see there's very little waste. And they sent enough bags. It looks for each player to have their own bag of components, so I don't have to mix these when they're done playing. I can just be like, okay, red players go in this bag and such, which is a nice touch. Almost done with these, and then we'll move on to the cards. Yeah, so first off, we have some smaller cards in a resealable plastic envelope pack. It looks like the artwork is like kind of like a sash with patches on it. Artwork's a bit muted in color tone, which isn't bad because it fits the camping theme of those greens and tans and browns. So these are like, oh, basic mastery, have 3 green circle achievement patches, or skill diversity, have 1 of each type of achievement patch. So these appear to be different achievement type cards that you can gain throughout the game if you achieve certain things. So for smaller cards, it seems nice quality. Decent little cards there. Let's see what else we got. Some square cards with a quick tear line in the packaging, which is nice. Again, that's something we'll always look for, so we don't have to worry about damaging cards when we open it. Now I just have to find where the tear begins, so I can actually grab it. The majority of the time these will be on the side of the card deck. I found it right there. So slightly unfortunate, this is pretty common with this shape of card. We have a very slight curvature in the cards already. Typically this will happen like with the packaging process or something, or just in general because cards when printed will sometimes go through a roller, and then certain shapes will have a tendency to curve a bit more under pressure. These are locations, so as you can see on the back they have kind of that map, but they also have some different symbols on them in the corner. We got like a tag-along treehouse, Toadstool Hollow, Whoopsie Daisy Bridge, the Blue Jug Lodge, Possum Point, Foxfire Cave. So a lot of different places that you might explore when you're at a camp. Banjo Beach and Yonder Pond, Lucky Pines and Rainbow Ridge, South Fork Dam and the Wishing Field, Larkspur Rapids, you gotta be careful there, along with the Bear Claw Caverns, Catfish Cove, Constellation Creek and Phantom River, the Gray Wilderness, Banshee's Brambles, Rattlesnake Switchback, Orion's Traverse, the Nimbus Range, Stormy Peaks, Penelope's Landing to Tin Can Cabins, Washtub Shed, the Ember Forest, Stag Mountain, Dawn Pass, Firefly Falls, Zinnia Springs, Fiddler's Woods, Foxtrot Footpath, Paperback Pines, and Sebastian's Spot. So as you can see, all of these locations had 4 things on them. I'm not sure if they're badge based or how they integrate. I'd have to look into the rules on how that works, but a lot of each one of these was unique, had different symbols across the bottom as well. Okay, and our last card deck, again, it has that quick tear line in it. So once you find the beginning of it, you can grab it and peel. So as you can see right there, we found it. Quick tears, opens it, so you don't just take a knife to it. It looks like kind of like your camping pack, your backpack style artwork here. Got some canoe looking cards, some fishing cards, you got your axe, maybe you're taking a rest with your walking stick and camera and backpack. So that style of artwork seems to be repeated, so you see, not sure how these are used, but they seem to be repeated. So you have 4 primary artwork things. From pink, blue, green, almost a yellow motif. I'd have to compare them, but it's potential that the symbols in the corners are slightly different as I've gone through these. We got some like wild pocket knives, whistles, and matches. Some gear that is always helpful to have on hand. These are linen finish. Pretty good quality. And last but not least, let's see these wooden bits. Okay, so we got some, looks like wooden discs with a claw on them. Looks like enough discs, one for each player color in that. Some more discs of each player color. Probably end up splitting those up with these badges and the bigger bags, along with your camper wooden custom maples. Let's see what this shape is like. So it almost looks kind of like a, to me it looks like a fox standing up, kind of has a sash on, the walking stick, holding its hand out. It looks like it. The color print, or the extra color print of that white, is only on one side. And it does appear that every color is the same cut shape as well. So splitting those up by player color would be helpful to do eventually. For now, I will just put these pieces in a Ziploc. So the box itself did not have any kind of insert, but it did come with a lot of Ziploc baggies to use, so I do appreciate that. And then the expansions had some cards. This is the creatures expansion. So it kind of has bear, beaver, eagle, elk, otter. Looks like it adds weather with rain or snow, sun. There's a trout as well. Camp conditions. So yeah, it definitely adds some weather with some forecast. With some symbols moving in different directions, which we'd have to look at the rules on how those actually apply. So this was the creatures expansion. And then that expansion also came with this small punch board of creature tokens and weather tokens. Because we got some of the different creatures like salmon, beaver, otter, elk, eagle, bear, and then weather tokens as well. I'll punch those later once I know I have enough bags. And then we have the observation tower expansion. This is a punch board of the tower that gets assembled. Nice thick cardboard. Probably it looks like 4mm. So I can, how well this comes off. Okay, there we go. It came off, no tearing. That's nice. Then it appears that these slide together as such, creating a little observation tower, lighthouse style tower. I guess once you fully press it down, it kind of essentially has 4 legs. It seems to stand okay, no issue. And then that also had a set of more cards. For that expansion, the backpack like that, but it doesn't have the tower on it. So it may be that these cards with the tower are the tower expansion, observation tower expansion. Maybe these cards come with the creature, or they're just an expansion, because it looks like dual colored. So I don't know how those integrate, but it'll be interesting to try those out. So that was all of the components for Camp Pinetop. So we'll start putting it away. I'll deal with all the Ziploc bags later. See how well I can keep this organized in here for the moment. I understand it comes with the Ziplocs, and I would be separating these later into those Ziplocs. But right now it's just put it away and get to the next thing. So that can go there. And just because I'm not putting it in a Ziploc set, I'm not going to do a shake test on it. We know things would go flying if I did that, so I won't. But what I do like to see about this is they don't give you a giant box. That is a lot of dead space. Things seem to fit in here perfectly, just enough space, not too tight, not too loose, without issue. So that was Camp Pinetop for ages 8 and up, and that plays in about 60 minutes for 1 to 5 players from Talon Strikes.